So this is Pack Pals. Basically, it's a trip planning app that you can use with your friends to plan whatever trip you have in mind, and use all the features. And here is the login page. And if you don't have an account, you can sign up here. You can add a profile picture here. Boom, bang. And you can type your name and also put in your email address. It has to be a valid email address. And then type in your password here. So once you sign up, you'll be able to log in here. And make sure you type in the right password, because if you type in the wrong password, it will give you a little error here. But if you type in the right password, you'll be able to log in. And since this is a fresh account,
So when we're on this trip page, we don't really have anything set up. So we want to create a new trip. Again, since this is a fresh account, we don't have any friends. So all we can really do is just create an empty trip. So we'll want to log out after that into an account where we might actually have some friends.
boom.
All right, so here we actually have trips and we have friends. So we want to open one of them up and we want to edit. So here we can either rename the trip, we can adjust the trip pals by checking or unchecking, and then after we're done, we save our changes. And afterwards, after we're done editing, we want to open that up, which will bring us to the map view, and we'll talk about the pals page.
All right, so here in the pals page, so here we can see all our pals. Here at the bottom half of the screen, we can search for our pals, filter them if you have a lot of pals. At the top of the screen, we have two navigation buttons. So here's Find a Pal. This is where we can send requests to other people to add them as pals. You can send a request to Mooj. And here in requests, we can respond to pal requests from other people. Then we can accept or decline here. And all right.
Okay.
Moving on to the itinerary page. Here we already have some items. We're going to go ahead and add an item here. And here we can search any location we want, for example, Google, and it brings up the top results in the Places API. Here we can see that it auto-populates the name, the address, and the current forecast. We can also edit what time we want to start, what time we want to end within the time picker and the calendar picker as well. We can go ahead and save the item. And notice it appears here. Also, you can see that the location, the weather, the photo updates, and we can also edit the item here. And you can edit any field that we want to here. We can save, and we can set notifications for future items.
Yeah. And since we set some itinerary items, once you do have that, it'll actually populate the map with all the itinerary items you have here. You can see they have a little marker with a label of them, and also your location is set here. And if you want to navigate there, you can just click that location button. So if you click this, you can actually see some information details about the little marker, and also with the image. And if you click onto that marker, you'll actually even see more details. And if there are any pictures, you can add them here and you'll be able to see them. Speaking of photos.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the photos page, and basically all the itinerary items have an album associated with it that populates on its own. So let's go to Googleplex and add a picture. And we will take a picture, put a picture that we took there at that location. But let's say you don't have an itinerary item, but you want to add a photo, then you can make a new album. So a new album, and you could add a photo there where you took a picture, basically.
And
now going to expenses.
Expenses.
So as you can see here, we have some pre-made expenses for demonstrations. So secret Google formula was something we made and something we paid for. So somebody owes us $3, whereas Google Hall Pass and bus tickets are some expenses that somebody else paid for, and then we owe them $490. So to create a new expense, we just click add new expense. We type in a name, total. By default, it's split by equal shares. So we just check out the people we split with, and then it'll automatically do a calculation. So if we save expense, as you can see, this is how much they owe us. If we want to edit, we can just click that button. We can split by percentage. So we can change this to like 10% maybe, or something like that, depending on whatever it was. And as you can see, it updated. We can also settle expenses by checking the check mark there, and then it grades it out. So as you can see, bus tickets was already settled by the person who made it. And you can also only edit and settle if you're the creator of the expense. And if you want to see how much you owe people or how much people owe you, you just click this to total all up for all the unsettled expenses. So moving on to profile page.
So for profile, if you want to change your bio or change your name, you go to the edit page, and basically you can change your name. We're going to just change the description to we're really, really, really cool. And we can also add a profile picture or change it. So let's update the profile. And yeah, it gets changed. So now you can see the trips at the bottom that are completed, and you see the number of pack pals that you have.
All right,
so now
Yep.
Yeah.
Finally, moving on to packing list, we have two different lists. So one that is shared amongst all the trip pals, which is the group list. And once we've packed something, we can either toggle it to make it checked, and then we can add a new group item by typing in something there. And then when we press that plus button, it gets added to the list. Same thing for the individual list, which is again private to the user. So we can add something there. Great. And then afterwards, when we're done with our trip, we can go back to the trip menu. And since we're done with this trip, we can go ahead and archive it. But if we change our mind, we can make something active again. Yep. And once we're done with the trip entirely, we can just leave that trip. And that concludes all of our PackPal features. So next we'll talk about the challenges that we faced.
Yeah, so some of the challenges we faced were our initial plan for features. We had too many. Some of them were not super useful or super relevant to the PackPal functionality. Also, our features were very dependent on each other, and our project timeline wasn't the most organized, so we ran into some time trouble. And we also had some difficulty integrating the APIs for Google Maps, weather, and places.